Hi everyone, Very Cute GM here, coming at you with another session of Pondera. This last week, just to recap what had happened, last time after the party had escaped the red dragon from their own lair, they had discovered that Shelly, the brass dragon, had passed away in order to protect the NPC party, because the red dragons had infiltrated the brass dragon's lair and began tearing shit apart. Unfortunately, Shelly had sustained some mortal wounds and would not be able to be up. He had passed away, and he had asked the party if they would look over the clutch of bronze eggs they have rescued from the red dragon's lair. While this was happening, they had decided that the fastest way, Julie, Denethor's master, had told them that they needed to get to Wingfall with these eggs as soon as possible. That she claimed that she knew who the silver dragon, Angela, had contacted in Wingfall. They decided that the fastest way to get there would be to go to the western coast of the Sea of Gadarn via Elwood dragon turtle. Akros was able to instill this sense of honor in Elwood, telling him that these eggs were not safe yet, that he still had to repay his debt to Shelly, even though Shelly had just passed. This was able to tug on Elwood's heartstrings, and Elwood gave him a ride to Datsun. While on the dragon turtle, there was a royal guard of the royal family Velido who was flying overhead, and Denethor and Winnow were able to get his attention. After they got his attention, he flew down. Alina of the royal family Velido claimed to be a handmaiden of the queen's sister, Lady Gwen, and she was able to convince him to send a message to Wingfall to this cleric. And lo and behold, the cleric was waiting for them in Datsun after the royal guard was able to send this message. Lek is claimed to be a saint of Melora, the nature goddess, and she had told them that she would be able to get in contact with the King of Algor, who she believed had some knowledge of chronomancy, time magic, because that realm of magic is not studied very well. She would write them a letter of recommendation to get them into Algor, but they would need two. So she told them that she would be able to grab another letter of recommendation from Ixen, a retired wizard who runs a brewery in Ironfast, the dwarven nation. And they are still at the Blooming Orchid Inn with this cleric, and that is where we pick up today. I hope you guys have an awesome day and enjoy the session.
So last time, a lot of shit actually happened. It turns out that Shelly did not make it. He was hunted down by the pair of red dragons and was mortally wounded, but had asked you to keep the bronze eggs safe and find a place for them. And also last time you did meet the person that you were meant to see in Wingfall. There was a message sent by Alina via the royal guard of Velido, and that guard was able to get that message to Wingfall for her and her apprentice to meet you in Datsun instead of going to her and making the journey a little shorter. There was a lot of exposition, actually. You learned some things about the slave mark, Jacob. Well, not the slave mark, the ward Jacob bears. You learn that it was possibly a Rakshasa may have made this mark. You guys also had some theories of your own that you did not share with Lek, which is fine. If you choose to share that with the rest of the party, that is up to you. I know Winnell and Ramus and Logan were talking. I don't know whether or not you want to now share it with who was previously named Denethor, um, about your theories. And right now you are all in the Blooming Orchid Inn, where Lek in the morning had told you that, you guys would depart for Wingfall in the morning. She thinks she has not so much a stronghold, but she has a place in her city that she can keep your NPC party safe. Also, she had mentioned that she thinks that the King Jonah of present, could help you get back home. In order to enter the northern country of Algor, you would need two letters of recommendation. One that Lek has said that she will write herself. The other, she will contact a former party member of hers, and she will arrange a meeting so you could talk to him, and he can write a letter of recommendation also. Also, Lek had mentioned that her friend, the wizard that you will meet, named Ixen, besides being a terrible drunk, is in possession of a magical item which would allow you to do great things. It's sort of a item where if you want to ask a question like, "Where's this person?" or any question you want, with certain consequences to your constitution, this artifact would answer any question you wished. Um, she didn't go into much detail about the artifact, though. She seemed a little wary of that. But you are all in the Blooming Orchid Inn. It is around dusk when you shared your meal and your meeting with Lek, and she had checked out the prisoners also. She had mentioned that the amulet that William carried was worth its weight in gold. Not materialistically, but potentially magic wise, because it's such a big battery to have powered that gate spell. But she after looking at the prisoner, she says, "Well, I suppose that we all should meet in the morning to embark for Wingfall. I know that tonight was a lot to take in, and you see her apprentice, a young a gnome, with a shock of pink hair, has been. Actually, all of you can roll perception checks for this, since I assume the main party was with her when she was checking out the slave in particular. Okay. All right. Okay. Ramus and I'm gonna just call you Denethor for now, until the time comes. Ramus and Denethor, you notice that ever since the gnome looked at Jacob the slave, she has this kind of wide. She's staring off into the distance. After she checked him out, looked at the brand on the back of his shoulder. She sort of has this glare, like looking off into the distance. She doesn't seem to acknowledge the conversation that is happening around her. She just looks very, not shell shocked, but she just looks like her eyes are out of focus, and she doesn't seem to responding to him any words in the conversation that you guys and Lek are having between you guys right now. Um, Lek says, "Well, I am going to enjoy the rest of my meal," she says. "I think we need to take this moment to, I don't know, we can, I feel if I'm going to be helping all of you, we should try to get to know each other a little better, especially since I will be providing a lot of support and housing your friends, and I'd like to know who I'm working with, so you're not we're not all strangers, and hopefully maybe you can come to trust me at some point. I know a lot of this is a lot to take in right now. Um, you guys say anything?
You first.
Of course. Well, your meal and your how I'll put your meal and rooms on my tab, as a gesture of goodwill, first of all. And I'm gonna go downstairs and enjoy the lovely music that has been provided by that bard downstairs. I'll see you all momentarily. And at that, she looks around the room once again. She notices Pip has that far off look about her, and she taps Pip's shoulder and she says, "Come along now, Pip." And Pip, shakes her head and nods and trails behind Lek to go downstairs. You guys are all sitting in the room. The prisoners are still chained up, and Julie has this look of contemplation on her face as after Black and Pip had left. You notice that Black Dog is trying to nuzzle her hand to maybe get her to say something, to move, to have some reaction to something, and she just absentmindedly rubs the dog's muzzle and scratches him behind the ear and looks around at all of you and says, and Julie says, "Well, that was a long, long conversation about things. I need a drink." And she, starts heading downstairs with the dog. Um, so you all are sitting there with the slaves. Do you guys, Ramus, what are you doing after Lek and Julie and the gnome had left?
I'll follow them downstairs.
Okay. Um, well, now what about you? You're in the room with the two prisoners. Ironwood and Cat's Paw are there. They had agreed to watch them that night for the night. They feel actually roll an insight for me, one if you please.
Yes, wait.
Excellent. You had noticed over your, while traveling with Ironwood and Cat's Paw that they are not comfortable with like big crowds of people. Um, when they are eating in the tavern with your, comrades, they are always seemed a little nervous. You think it could be the fact there are many people, or the fact that they feel maybe slightly claustrophobic in places like this. From your knowledge from the druids, a lot of druids you've encountered, a couple druids you've encountered in the past, a lot of them love to be out in the open. They love the wide sky, above them. They like to feel the earth or whatever, the water or whatever natural substance beneath their feet. They are a little nervous in quarters such as this. So when they are able to, they either, sleep outside, or if they have to, they will stay with the prisoners to keep an eye on them. But their preferred environment is the outdoors. But you've noticed that they've always been a little edgy in establishments such as this.
Okay. Then look at them and say, you know what? I think you two can take the day off. I can watch them today.
Okay. You see Ironwood. No, he's still limping from that attack at Flamecrest. He got hurt pretty bad while I was out there. So him and Catspaw have been healing that particular leg, but it's not completely healed yet. Um, Ironwood says that would be. I thank you. I wish to just survey around the area and take in my environment. And Catspaw says to you, "Well, you sure? I could stay with you to keep you company, but if you're offering to let us wander outside a bit, it's most appreciative, Um,
It will be fine.
all
We
right."
need some alone time, I say, and look at the prisoners.
The prisoners look a little wary of you, especially William, who kind of just, well, is it Robert or I think it was Robert. I keep messing up the names. Especially the noble, who just kind of backs up on the bed, just staring at you, slightly wide-eyed. You can go ahead and make an insight check on him if you wish. All right, not so great this time. He's a little nervous around you. You're not sure why. It could be that you're not a noble. You're not a common person. You're as far as he's concerned, you're a wild woman. Your place, you've lived among nature. It certainly shows about you, and maybe that makes him nervous, or the fact that he's a prisoner and that everybody in this party probably wants him to pay for what he's done. It could either be column A or column B, or a little of both. But um, he kind of just looks at you warily, and when he's done staring at you, he just looks at his hands, and they're kind of twitching and not being calm at all. It's like when somebody's playing with their hands and they're twiddling their thumbs, so to speak. Denethor, what are you going to be up to? Or Denethor.
Am I in the room with them?
Yeah, you were probably in the room with them. You probably heard everything that the cleric that you have just met and the gnome said. Do you have any questions about last session? I mean, you weren't here, so do you have any questions you would have asked her before she left?
I have no idea of what's going on, to be honest.
Okay, so
Last time I checked, we were getting away in the mouth of a dragon turtle.
yes. So you got away, and you had met back up with Shelly, the brass dragon. Unfortunately, Shelly had passed away from his wounds, and he had entrusted you guys with the clutch of 5 bronze dragon eggs. During the way back, you were able to, especially Akros especially, was able to convince Elwood the Dragon Turno to give you a ride to Datsun. Datsun is on the west coast of Gadarn. It's also just south of Wingfall. You were able to convince him that his debt to Shelly was not paid off. So he gave you a ride to Datsun. That way you have a quick way of getting to Wingfall. On your way to Datsun, a patrol, a single royal guard of Velido, of the great city in Leona, had passed overhead, and Winnow and you were able to get the guard's attention. Alina had lied that she was Lady Guinevere's handmaiden, sister to the current ruler of Valido, and she was able to write a message to the cleric in Wingfall that you were supposed to meet. When you arrived in Datsun, the guards had told you that the cleric was indeed in the area and had told them to send you guys to the Blooming Orchid Inn. You met her. Not before Ramus decided to sneak to the back room and try to listen in on their conversation, where he had discovered that they were speaking in Celestial. That was kind of a tip-off to that's maybe who they were supposed to meet. You guys met, and the cleric that you met was a person who called herself Lek. She is a matron of an orphanage. And you would have immediately seen this, Denethor, that Julie was very, very nervous, very apprehensive of meeting this person. And when you guys met this person, there was a sigh of relief from Julie and a look of recognition. She recognized this person straight away. Lek had offered you that she knew there might be somebody that could send you back home. King Jonah. You had met him very, 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 very. You've all met him very briefly. King of Algor, been ruler for as long as anybody could remember, even elves. And she says the past Jonah, not the one you met, but the past Jonah, same Jonah, perhaps, would be able to get you back home, or possibly get you back home, because he used to be in the company of a powerful chrono mage named Agilarian. Agilarian currently is thought to be deceased, but King Jonah was his friend for many, many, many years, and she seemed to have no doubts that he may have picked up something about chronomancy. You also had her look at the prisoners. In confidence to your group, she said that her friend Ixen, the individual that you would need to get a letter for passage to Algor, along with her own sealed letter, probably would be able to remove this mark. She looked very confident that Ixen could help you remove the mark off the slave and perhaps maybe you can learn more from this slave. Also, maybe Ixen can also shed some more insight on what happened to you guys. He is not a chrono mage himself, but he is very, very knowledgeable about the arcane ways and has done many great things in his youth that seemed impossible. So he could help you in that aspect too, about maybe help piece together along with taking the mark off the slave. That's where you stand now. You had met the cleric. She had answered as many questions as possible. And actually, Winnow had a theory that after she had left the room. I don't know, Winnow, if you want to talk about that theory. Oh, the other thing. The mark on the slave, the ward that prevents him from telling the truth, seems Orange Cat had mentioned to Winnow, and this is, character knowledge. No, this is player knowledge, not character knowledge necessarily, unless she decides to tell you. Orange Cat had mentioned that there is only one time he have seen this ward on a person, and it was placed on by a Rakshasa. And when, after Orange Cat said that, he was very, very clearly frightened, because Rakshasas are pretty bad news. I think somebody rolled an Arcana check and mentioned that the only way a Rakshasa truly dies is if you kill him in the 9 hells. If he's killed on the material plane, he will eventually come back. But yeah, they're deceptive. They're like they look like tiger men with the backward hands, and they're just generally very, very bad news. Um, so that's where you all stand. Lek, Pip went out. Ramus is also out. Winnow has volunteered to stay with the prisoner, and
I go, yeah.
okay.
I go to towards the end of the room, towards the door, and I look at Wimmo.
Mhm.
Winnow. I say, "Do you want company, or should I leave?
Can you repeat that question?
Do you want company, or should I leave you alone?"
I can be alone for a while. I
Okay.
need some
I say, "All right."
meditation.
Meow. And there's like a meow coming from your bag, Winnow. Meow.
I open it.
Meow. And Orange Cat sticks out his head. He motions to you, and then or motions to the door, and it gives you an inquisitive look.
That's up to you.
Meow, meow, meow. He ducks back into your bag. He looks quite you know perturbed by this turn of events. Black Dog actually trots up the stairs and pokes his head in the room, and looking at Denethor, and then looking at Winnow, and then looking at Denethor, and looking back downstairs towards Julie's direction, who is already downstairs, doing whatever. Denethor, so are you going to stay, or are you going to go? Hello? I have no idea what happened.
We may have lost him.
Yes, we may have. Alright, so Ramus, you are downstairs. Lek is by the fireplace, at a table by the fireplace with, multiple chairs. She is sitting there with her apprentice, and it looks like she's tucking into a meal. And when she sees you, she waves a hand over to come join her by the table.
Okay. Let's go talk to her.
All right. She hails the. We'll get back to Denthor. She hails the the waitress, and she's like, "What will you having to drink tonight, my friend?" She looks at you.
Water for now.
Water? All right. Water, and would you like anything to eat?
Chicken.
Chicken. All right. The waitress nods, and you see Pip there, biting very delicately into her turkey leg, and doesn't straighten herself, kind of leans over the table, gives you this questioning look, and she says, "Where are you from, if you don't mind me asking?"
Oh, what's the name of the frickin' city? One sec. I'm gonna pull up the map.
That's fine.
Niminel.
Niminel. So you're... She looks at your ears very quickly. Or do you have a hood up?
No, I don't have it up right now.
Okay. So, you're from Niminel. What brings you to the Eastern Continent?
Helping people.
Really? You help people? You don't come across the type that would help people.
I'm helping them.
You are helping them, and I wonder, you are from around here. Why are you helping them? You can tell me why you're really helping them. And she kind of gives this knowing smile.
Should I tell her? Or should I not tell her?
It's up to you. You can give an insight. You can roll an insight check to see what
she's up to something. Does she know?
Who knows? Okay. You can't really get a good read on her. She she looks like she's been doing whatever she does for a long time. You can't get quite a good read on her of what she's trying to do in actuality. She kind of looks at you and says, "You know what? That's perfectly fine. I I was like you guys at one point, going around kicking evil in the ass, that kind of thing. Um, you notice that peeking from her, and you'd catch this right away, peeking from her neck, she wears sort of a high collar type dress. There's the shimmering, that's cool, Danator. There's the shimmering of something glinting around her neck. And it's just a flash, and she kind of scratches her neck a little, somewhat idly, and then she goes back to trying to make small talk with you, Ramus.
What's around your neck?
She pauses and she looks at you and she says, well, she takes down the collar of her dress, and there's this beautiful choker that's looks like it's made out of silver metal, and there's several chains connected to it where the bottom meets. The interesting thing you notice about this choker is a lot of chokers are meant to be symmetrical, like, whatever matches on this side will match on this side. If there's a gem here, there's a gem here of the same color usually. She has 3 gems of 3 separate different colors: a red, a yellow, and a blue. And she smiles and says, "I've had this piece since I was a young adventurer like yourself. It has given me luck sometimes. Sometimes it's helpful, sometimes it's not." You see that Pip kind of stares at the neck piece and kind of solemnly nods as she just is sipping on her drink, just trying to get a read on you, Ramus, if she can. She didn't roll very well on insight. She can't quite make anything of you. Julie is also arrives at the table with a large bottle of whiskey, and she starts pouring a glass. She puts it in the middle of the table and kind of motions to anybody who wishes to partake. And she just, downs the first glass, like just straight whiskey. And you see that Black Dog had come down from the stairs, trotted over to Julie, and had laid his head in her lap.